What up, Random Rockers? Okay, so, just to clarify, the thumbnail I'll be using, just to not piss you off, that thumbnail is from a previous take. This one is the one you're going to get for the Solo, A Star Wars Story. Right now, I can honestly say that this movie, I liked the movie. I'm willing to at least give it a thumbs up. Or at least maybe one thumb up, one thumb down, because it's one of those types of ordeals with this film. But for the most part, I'd go more this, but I see everyone else's complaints that have this. But I did enjoy this, and I at least liked this film. I could say, if you are going to try to go out to see this, and at least avoid spoilers on certain things, matinee. If not, and you don't care about spoilers, well, that's on you. Before I get to that, small thoughts. The actor that they had cast for Solo does a decent job. I'm for blanking on his name. Forgive me for that. It's been a long day and a long weekend. Again, of trying to maintain it, but then somehow, even while I've been trying to maintain it through other means, I'm blanking on that. And I'm still blanking, even as bad as the last one. So the best I can just tell you is, I'm not even sure I'm going to spoil much, except for like one thing at the end. I'm just going to make this review short. So if you want to find something better, there is something out there. I'm not going to be surprised if you're not going to watch this, because lately the movie reviews have not been going over so well. But I'm hoping that by the next one, it'll be better than this one. In fact, I will say this movie at least is better from what is rememberable for me at this current moment. Is still better than what I got out of Pacific Rim, which was just Uprising, that is. So expect that to be higher up on a list if I have to put it on a list for the year. So at all, we'll see what happens with that. I will say Danny Glover's Lando and whoever did Chewbacca, their interactions with Han are what makes the movie for me. And I don't mind some of his interactions with some of the other characters. The love interest thing, I mean, I'm glad it was more of a kind of a sort of double cross thing. And the way they're setting it up, they feel like they're making it like a trilogy involving Han, which sounds kind of dumb, but I don't know how that would work with the Obi-Wan thing. The only thing to me is the whole, the Boba Fett thing, that makes sense. But, there's not much here in this movie that really anyone really has. I mean, the thing is, I see how it's just an unnecessary thing, and they're just setting it up for other films, as opposed to what they did with Rogue One, which is really more standalone they don't need to go into these prequel-ish element things as much, and I feel like if they do, they need to do something before the prequel series. Like Knights of the Old Republic or something, is what needs to be said. But despite it making it sound like I'm complaining, for what I can tell you, I do know I have somewhat enjoyed it, even if it does come off as being somewhat predictable to a degree. It has a very Western, sort of gangster-ish feel. More Western than anything. And it seems to go into other types of genres, it seems, but not near in certain places, but doesn't always gel as well as it should. But we want to get a film that we like, but not in the sense, and the feel of it comes off more like Star Wars, but if it was actually a better, I just wish there was more quality in it than what we got. And I understand why this has not been selling as well, because of everything that's been happening with this, and what happened with how big of a mixed reaction Last Jedi had. This film needed to be the make or break for us, or at least the one make or break thing that will keep us wanting to be invested in Star Wars after we end that entire new trilogy, which is the only movie I think people are going to bother to watch at this point. At least they know J.J. Abrams will try to send off that storyline and be done with it. in the best way possible, hopefully, given all the circumstances, including Carrie Fisher's death and the way they set things up in Last Jedi. That if J.J. Abrams had stuck with it, I mean, I'm glad we didn't have to deal with certain aspects of lens flares, but at least within Force Awakens, they weren't used to full effect, like they was in Star Trek. So, but not so much with this. This was Ron Howard who wound up directing this, even though it was originally done with Phil Lord and Chris Miller and Christopher Miller, which were actually given executive producer credits. So they didn't ignore them necessarily, or at least they knew they already paid for them, so they may as well just give them executive producer creds, just to give them something to go off of. Not ignoring what they've tried to do for the films, but you know, it was just it almost felt like them putting that there was meant to be their way of saying we're sorry, but really it was more like a slap in the face, I guess, especially with what we wound up getting after all this. And we got something that wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be, that the trailers were leading us onto, and that's the problem. The trailers that marketed this sucked, except for the parts that we figured weren't going to suck in the movie, and that was more so Chewie and Lando. And that's it. And you barely even know, except for like one trailer, that Paul Bettany's in this as one of the main villains, even though he's barely there enough to be really much of an antagonist, even though it wound up really being more so a certain other character. And yeah, like I said, overall it's thumbs up. Now hats off spoilers. It's really more so predictably kind of what you thought it was going to be. It was really more so Clarisse or something like that. But before we get to that part, which leads to a certain little cameo thing that winds up blowing people's minds who haven't watched Rebels and the other and Clone Wars, more so or less, and whatever. And apparently there's a comic book that happened somewhere in between Clone Wars and what happened in Rebels that kind of fills in the gaps of what happened from him being at the position that he was, that we see in this film, to what he was in Rebels. And that is Maul! Darth Maul, or at least it was Darth Maul, then Maul, something of that nature. And he was part of Death Watch. I think this is Death Watch, or Black Watch, or something. That was one of the... why am I blanking on the actual group of people that somewhat Boba Fett was sort of associated with? Or at least his dad was, that led to the clones, all that bullshit. Midichlorians? I'm trying to think if I got it right. Forgive me, I know some of you Star Wars fans, if you see this, you'll comment below and thank you. If you have, just don't be a dick about it. Because I know what it is, I just can't, my head is blanking. There's so much going on with me right now. But overall, like I said, it's between that and I believe Woody Harrelson's character, which was fine. The L3 character was just... apparently she's part of the Millennium Falcon, and it was just supposed to make sense about some silly thing that C-3PO had said to Han about during like one of the original trilogy films or something. And it was more of that, and then the double cross there, and it was more, what's-her-face was just using that to kill him so she'd take over and wind up being led by, which was this whole Red Crimson group is being read, like, Crimson something, actually. I'm trying to remember, Crimson Knight. Something weird, I'm blanking. Normally I'm deader at this, but it's just, for some reason, just even trying to do what I normally do just didn't work. I guess my brain just took vacation because Memorial Day weekend, I guess. I don't know. So, sorry to all of, and once again, an apologies to all of you who are watching this and not getting the full effect of this review. That's why I wanted to do the second take. But I'm still not able to deliver it like I did in the first one. And that's all I can do for you at this point. And if you want to see something better, I wouldn't be surprised, because it's not like you probably haven't already. And hell, I might even give you, well, if you want to be spoiled about the whole thing with Maul, I mean, or know more about what happened with Maul if you can, and save yourself some time. Unless you actually want to see the episodes, I recommend you for Rebels and them. I recommend you go watch it. If not, I can leave a link to this one thing my buddy had showed me, or at least texted me back one time. Kevin Unboxed, shout out. And yeah, just we'll have you watch that. And well, what did you guys think of the movie? If you did you like it? Did you think it was at least good, decent, or somehow great, or did you think it was just freaking garbage or something? Leave a comment below. Let me know. As always, guys, follow me on Facebook. Oh yeah, follow me and like and follow me on Facebook. I should have the link in the description, which link is in the description below. Also, rock that like button here on this video with Thrust if you must, as well as please subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell when you do, and press all if you have to, depending on what you're using, whether it be mobile or whatever. And as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. See you on the next video, which will be shortly after this one. And in fact, I'm actually a lot more excited to talk about that one than I am this movie. So, not that surprising, I guess. Take care, y'all.